In this lecture, I'm going to show you some of the most useful shortcuts in Jupyter. Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is this green bar on the left. This indicates that this cell is currently in the edit mode, so we can write code here. Now, if we press the escape key, green turns to blue, and that means this cell is currently in the command mode. So basically, the activated cell can be either in the edit mode or the command mode. Depending on the mode, we have different shortcuts. So here we're currently in the command mode. If we press H, we can see the list of all the keyboard shortcuts. Right above this list, you can see macOS modifier keys. These are the extra keys that we have on a Mac keyboard. If you're a Windows user, you're not going to see this. So as an example, here is the shape of the command key. This is Control, this is Option, and so on. With this guideline, you can easily understand the shortcut associated with each command. Let me show you. So here we have all the commands when a cell is in the command mode. For example, we have this command, open the command palette. This is exactly like the command palette that we have in VS Code. Here's a shortcut to execute this command. That is Command, Shift, and F. Okay, so here we have lots of shortcuts. Of course, you're not going to use all of them all the time, but it's good to have a quick look here to see what is available for you. With these shortcuts, you can write code much faster. So let me show you some of the most useful ones. I'm going to close this. Now, with our first cell in the command mode, I'm going to press B, and this inserts a new cell below this cell. We can also go back to our first cell, press Escape. Now the cell is in the command mode. We can insert an empty cell above this cell by pressing A. So either A or B. A for above and B for below, okay? Now, if you don't want this cell, you can press D twice to delete it, like this. Now, in this cell, I'm going to print a hello world message. So, print hello world. Now, to run the code in this cell, we can click on the run button here. So, here's our print function, and right below that, you can see the output of this function. But note that when you run a cell, this will only execute the code in that cell. In other words, the code in other cells will not be executed. Let me show you what I mean. So in the cell below this cell, I'm going to delete the call to the describe method. Instead, I'm going to print ocean. Now, I'm going to put the cursor back in this cell where we print the hello world message and run this cell. So you can see hello world is displayed here, but the cell below is still displaying the describe table, so we don't see the changes here. Now, to solve this problem, we can go to the cell menu on the top and run all cells together. This can work for small projects, but sometimes you're working with a large data set, so if you want to run all these cells together, it's going to take a lot of time. That is the reason Jupyter saves the output of each cell, so we don't have to rerun that code if it hasn't changed. So this notebook file that we have here includes our source code organized in cells, as well as the output for each cell. That is why it's different from a regular Py file where we only have the source code. Here we also have auto-completion and IntelliSense. So in this cell, let's call df data frame dot. Now, if you press tab, we can see all the attributes and methods in this object. So let's call describe. Now, with the cursor on the name of the method, we can press Shift and Tab to see this tooltip that describes what this method does and what parameter it takes. So here in front of signature, you can see the describe method. These are the parameters and their default value. And right below that, you can see the description of what this method does. In this case, it generates descriptive statistics that summarize the central tendency and so on. Similar to VS Code, we can also convert a line to comment by pressing Command and slash on Mac or Control slash on Windows, like this. Now this line is a comment. We can press the same shortcut one more time to remove the comment. So these were some of the most useful shortcuts in Jupyter. Now, over the next few lectures, we're going to work on a real machine learning project. But before we get there, let's delete all the cells here. So we start with only a single empty cell. So here in this cell, first I'm going to press the escape button. Now the cell is blue, so we are in the command mode, and we can delete the cell by pressing D twice. There you go. Now the next cell is activated and is in the command mode, so let's delete this as well. We have 2 more cells to delete. There you go. And the last one, like this. So now we have an empty notebook with a single cell.